So we said that the computer can be divided into two parts. There is the hardware and there is the software. The hardware is the physical aspect of it, the tangible, the one that you can touch. That's the hardware. So when you say keyboard, that's the hardware. Monitor, that's hardware, and anything that you can touch is the hardware. And software, of course, is the one that's basically the program. Software is the program that interacts with that hardware. So it's the unseen. Software is the unseen. So when somebody says, okay, I saved my, like in a software or in a DVD or in a CD is or DVD is not, it's not the software, because sometimes, okay, give me the software and they give you like a CD or something. That's not the CD. This is so the CD or DVD is just a container or storage for the software, but the software cannot be seen. It's just a bunch of programs, a bunch of statements that tells the computer what to do. Now there is these are the components of the computer. The central processing is the CPU. That's the brain of the computer. So I don't want to talk too much about this because this is something that that's kind of uh, common knowledge. I would say there's not if there is something specific, I will talk about it. Main memory. So main memory is where the information are saved. You have two types of memory. There is the one inside the computer, and the secondary, like when you have a flash drive, that's a secondary. So when you have a zip drive, that's a secondary. Input devices, output devices. Any device that you can use to get the information inside the computer is called input. Like for example, what do we use the keyboard for? We use the keyboard to get the information inside the computer. What do we use the mouse for? To get the information inside the computer. The same thing but what about the monitor? Monitor, we don't use it to get the information inside. It's the opposite, outside. Or the printer, we get the information out. Or the speaker, you get the information out. So this is the difference between the two. And this is some examples of this. So we said that the CPU is just the brain of the computer. That's where the computation, the calculation, the processing takes place. And this is it's divided into two parts: the control unit and the arithmetic uh, part. Main memory. And by the way, the memory can be divided into two. There is one that you can never erase. There is some information that is in the memory of the computer that you can never lose. It never gets lost. Why? Because it is created the first time the manufacturer built the computer. It's there. It's like a human being. There's certain information that you just cannot forget. You cannot forget, and it's like there is special situation. But talking about normal people, you're not gonna forget how to eat or how to walk. Why? Because that's something built in you, since you were born. So it stays with you. But you can forget what you ate probably 2 days ago. But you're gonna forget, for example, about some information that happened maybe an hour ago. Okay, that's possible. But there is something that you can never forget. So this is it's called RAM. Okay, so this is input devices. Now let's talk about the programming languages. First thing, there are three levels of programming languages. There is the lower level. That's the machine language. That's basically the computer language. And the computer understands nothing but a bunch of zeros and one. It doesn't matter what you see on the computer. Everything has to be translated for the computer to understand it. You have to translate it into a binary system. Binary system is this bunch of zeros and one. Probably you saw it in some movies, old movies, when they show only the zeros and ones. So this is what the computer understands. So when you see a picture, it has to be converted into a binary system. When you watch a video on the computer, it has to be converted for the computer to understand. That's why we have different levels, because you need to have a program that plays kind of the mediator between the computer and the human being. So that's why we have three types. We have three categories or three levels. Okay, we have the machine language, we have the assembly language, that's the one in between, and there is what we call the higher level programming language. That's what C++, Java, Python. So it is closer to the human language because we use some English terms that humans can understand. Okay. And now we're going to talk about the something called the algorithm. You heard it many times. Algorithm is just step-by-step instructions how to perform specific tasks, step by step. It has to be well defined. There is no confusion. There is no vagueness. So it's what's called algorithm. Like for example, this is a simple program made of 6 steps. If you follow exactly these 6 steps, you should be able to make this program. Okay. Just like when you ask, or somebody ask for, a location of something, and then you have to give them the exact, location by following step by step. You're gonna take the 59 south. You're gonna go 5 miles. You're gonna exit a specific, you're gonna have like a specific exit, and then once you get to that, boulevard or street, then you're gonna make a right. You're gonna go for a mile or two. So you have to be very specific. So whoever follows this instruction should never get lost. So this is the machine language we talked about. So machine language is that a binary system, we said, as you can see right here. Even the keys, like the keyboard, when you see A, B, the computer has no idea what the letter A means. That letter A has to be converted to a number, and that number is 65. And 65 will be translated into 0 and 1. And then the computer went, oh, you mean A, and then B is 60. So there has to be a program that converts or transfer or change the human language into machine language that the computer can understand, and vice versa. So when the computer processes this information and then will display it, now the way it is, the human being cannot understand this. So we have to have a program that converts or translates this into machine language. So this is what we talked about a few minutes ago about the lower level, that's the machine language, and the higher level is the human language. And there is one in between, it's called assembly language. Of course, once we start, this is like general information. You're not gonna, because once you go deeper into this, you're gonna get into an area of the hardware. So that's, you're gonna get to an area, a specific area that is kind of not programming language. So you're going to go into like how the compiler works. You're going to get to a different area by itself. All right. So this is the process that, like when you write a program, when you create a program, okay, you type the code. This is the steps that the code has to go through before it gets executed. A long time ago, I still remember when to type a code, you have to have like 3 or 4 different things and you have to combine them. You have to type the code in a text, in a file document, like a text file document. And then you have to have a compiler separate, and then the interpreter separate. Now they come up with one single entity called IDE. That's the integrated development environment that combines all these 3 or 4 in one. So for example, we're going to be using Visual Studio. Visual Studio is an example of an IDE. IDE is the program that combines 3 or 4 things that's going to get the job for you without having to, to deal with each one of them separately. So you have the preprocessor, you have the compiler, you have the linker, and then each programming language is different, the way they handle this. Okay, so some of them, they have the compiler, and then you have to combine all of them. So now, thanks to this IDE softwares, so you don't have to go through this. You just type the code, okay? Maybe you build it to check if there is any error, and then you run the program, you see the results. You don't even have to go through this. Okay, so this is the what we talked about, the different steps that you have to go through. This is the IDE. IDE basically is just a fancy word for a coding platform. Where are you going to type the code? We call it IDE because it combines everything. So, for example, you have a Visual Studio. We have Eclipse, for example, it's an IDE. There are many of them. There is JCreator. There is Dr. Java for Java developers. There is Jupyter for Python. There's many of them. It's just a question of choice, because basically they do the same thing. It's just like a, just question of choice. Some people, they feel comfortable with one IDE rather than another. So this is an example. Okay, we're gonna get to this. This is just an example of program. So as you can see, anything that is green, it starts with 2 forward slashes. This is a comment. Comment is not part of the code. It's just a way to explain what you are doing. You explain it to yourself because now you understand it, but maybe 2, 3 weeks or a month from now, you're gonna start asking the question, oh, what is this about? Okay, so when you put this comment, you understand what the code is supposed to be doing. And also for other people, for your teacher, for other people that you're gonna share the program with, they know what you are trying to do. Because sometimes, okay, when the program is small, it's not a big deal. But when you have a program that gets bigger, you have to use these comments because they help whoever is looking at the program to make sense of every part of it. Okay, so what is the program made of? Okay, as you can see, we're gonna talk about this later on. Of course, there are some keywords. Keywords are words that have a special meaning. You cannot use them. Okay, why? Because C++ or Java or Python, they have a special meaning for them. For example, class. Class has a meaning. I'm talking about class lowercase. It has a special meaning. So you cannot name your file class. You cannot name your variable class. Why? Because you're gonna create confusion because it means something. There is something void. Void is a special meaning. It's not void that we use like in English. It has a special meaning. For, it has a special meaning. While has special meaning. So there are many of them. They have a special meaning. Operators, like that's the one we use, for any kind of calculation or to compare things. So we'll talk about this in detail. This is just an generous punctuation. That some of them are allowed, others are not allowed. When do we use some of them? When we don't use? We'll talk about syntax. Of course, is the you can call it the grammar of coding. The syntax is the grammar of coding. So this is an example of what the program. So we have variables, hours, rates, and pay, and then the computer may ask the question, how many hours did you work? So that's cout. Cout means that's what the computer will display on the screen. Cin is what the computer is expecting from you. You're gonna type hours. Okay, that means type. Whatever you type is gonna be saved in this variable called hours. And then it's gonna ask you one more question about how much do you get paid per hour. Of course, we're gonna talk about this in detail. This is just an example of a code. But we're gonna talk about each line separately. We talked about the keyword. As I said, I don't want to spend too much time because I know you have limited time, and I want to make sure I get to the most important thing. First, want to make sure that you know how to set up the computer or the software, and then make sure you create the first program successfully. This is the most important. So we need to make sure we do that today. But all of this, we're going to talk about it in detail. Okay. So this is the operators. We're going to talk about this because this is chapter 2 and chapter 3. Operators, just like in math. That's why I keep skipping them, because this is something that you learned in math. There's nothing different, like addition, subtraction, division. Maybe there is something that probably you don't talk about it that much, like the remainder. It's called the modulus, the percentage sign. So if you see the percentage sign, computer science, it does not mean, has nothing to do with the percentage. It's just a remainder, like the model. When you divide a number by a number, let's say 9, if you divide it by 2, you get 4. What's the remainder? 1. That's what a percentage is referring to. So in computer science, we use it a lot. Maybe in math, we don't pay attention to this, but in computer science, we use it a lot. So this is the punctuation. As you can see, a semicolon is the end of the statement. It's like in English, you put period at the end of statement. In Java and C++, you put semicolon. That shows the computer that this is the end of statement. You're going to start new one. As I said, I like to do things by doing, like explain things by doing. I don't like going through the PowerPoint. It's just this is the first PowerPoint, but I don't like going through the PowerPoint slide. That's not how I teach. I teach by doing. That means you get involved. Stuff like just looking at me going through the slides. I want you to get involved. You open the program, you type, you make mistakes, you ask questions, you get feedback and stuff like that. That's how we learn, especially programming. This is the first PowerPoint. I'm just gonna go over it very quick. So this is a variable. There's a chapter specifically for variables. Variables is like kind of close what you learn in math. A variable is something that holds a value, right? And can change. This is the definition in math, right? A variable is something that holds a value and it changes. That's why they call it variable. Now, in computer science, it's pretty much the same thing, but there is something else, which means when you declare a variable, when you start using a variable, the computer will allocate a memory space for that variable, so it will be easy to be retrieved when you want it. So it's more than just something hold a value. It's a memory. The computer has to find a space, and then have to give you a certain amount of space, depending what data type you are using. If you use integer, there is 32 bits, for example. That's how much space the computer will allocate. If that's not enough, it will give you something else called long. Long is an integer but has more capacity. So look at it as like boxes of shoes. You have shoes or boxes for kids. Okay, this is only for kids. And then you have medium shoe box. And then you have one for adults. Okay, so we have big one. So it's the same thing. All of them are shoe boxes, but what's different is just the size. So look at it. So variable, that's the analogy I use most of the time. Variable, look at it as a storage place, something to store. And you can store only one thing. So if you want to change it, you have to take off the old value and replace it with the new one. Don't worry about this. All of this, I'm just talking in general, but all of this will be talked about in detail. Okay, so this is how do you declare the variable. You have to specify the data type. We're gonna use that. And this is input processing. So basically that's when you start interacting with the computer. Okay, you ask the question, the computer will scan that answer that you type, and then it will save it in a variable and then start doing the computation or whatever calculation is involved, and then give you the answer back. Okay, any questions so far? Because I want to make sure that everybody is involved. Any questions so far? This is just general information. We still did not start.
No.
Okay, let me know if you have. We can always, yeah, let me know. Okay, so this is, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop here. Okay, you have we have a quiz number one. Besides the video quiz one is about that, what is computer science about. This is just general information. If you watch the video, if you want to watch it 2 times, that's fine, but watch it at least 1 time, because the questions have to do with the video. That's video quiz one. Now quiz chapter 1 quiz, that has to do with this. Okay, has to do with the information that we talked about, especially like the about computer, the different parts of the computer and stuff like that. It should be an easy one. So that's something that you're going to do on your own, because I'm going to show you how to start your first program, how to make sure your first program is up and running. So I'm going to stop right here because that's the end of this. I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to show you the 2 options you have for the program. So I'm going to stop here, stop sharing. And then I'm going to show you 2 ways. Either you're going to use this, which is, let me see. There are 2 ways. So let me open, okay, open Visual Studio. Visual Studio is an easy one to install. There's no problem. I asked class yesterday, not a single one of them had problem with that, because it's an easy process. Even if you don't know, if you watch any YouTube video, it takes like 30 seconds or maybe a minute or 2 to install it, of course, depending on. So let me share my screen, because I have the program here. Okay, so I'm going to share the program. It's right here. Okay, so when you open it for the first time, you're going to see this. Okay, and then I'm going to show you 2 ways. Okay, either you if you want to work with this one, you can. So you click on this. Once you install the program and then you open it, you're going to see this. You're going to create a new project. So you're going to click on it, and then you're going to see this. This is 2022. I know, like it says 2019. It's old now, So now we'll start using 20,022. And then there are different ways you can open your project. We're going to choose this one, console app. Basically, like when you run the program, it shows at the bottom, or maybe like a little window, black window, it will show the output. So I'm going to click on it, and then click next. You're going to see like at the bottom, it says next. Okay, so, and then you can name it. Guys, can you see like to my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so now I'm gonna name it. Let's say my first program. Okay, and then here you specify the location. So let's say I want to save it somewhere in here. Okay, let's say in desktop. I want to save it somewhere in there. I'm gonna make a folder, and then I'm gonna call it C++ project, whatever you want to call it. Okay. It's very important that you specify the location, because sometimes you did the work, but you may have like hard time finding where the file is. So I'm going to click select folder. So now I know where it's desktop, and there is a folder called C++ project. So I can go straight to that folder and then get the file that ends with CPP, and that's the one you need to turn in. So I'm going to click create. So that's going to open the page where the code should be located. So this is one way of doing it. Okay, I'm going to type something in there, and then I'm going to switch to the second one. In case you have a problem installing Visual Studio, I'm going to give you another option, which is web-based. That means you don't even have to install anything. You go to a website called Replit, and then you log in using your Gmail account. That's it. And then everything is in there. You don't have to install anything. So as you can see, that's what I have. So by default, you have all this information. You don't need that much. So I'm going to delete all this stuff right here, green stuff. These are just comments or advices, but you don't really need them. Okay, so I'm going to, oh, it's gone. Okay, and then this is the top. Always you start with this one. I highly recommend that on top, okay, I'm just trying to make sure. Okay, so I delete this. Just type some basic information about you. Are just comments, okay? So what is a comment? Comment is like something that you type, but it's not part of the code. So I can put, for example, here my name, okay, Mr. E. And then you can put here date, for example. So this is 08, and then let's say 31st, and then 2022, okay? And then I'm gonna put description. That means what the program is doing. So this program shows how to display the output. Okay. Now, by the way, there are two ways to make a comment. This 2 forward slashes is only for one line. That's why I have to repeat them. What about if I have 3, 4, 5 lines and I don't want to repeat these 2 forward slashes? What you can do, you can start with forward slash and asterisk. Okay, and the last one you do the opposite, which is as forward asterisk. See that? So now I don't have to repeat this. Can you see this? So when I start with forward slash asterisk, and then I end with asterisk forward slash, anything in between, so I can add more comments, all of them will be in green. It doesn't matter, as long as it's between these two. So this is called multi-line comment. But if you have only one line, like here, for example, I'm going to put here one line. So use 2 forward slashes, okay? So this is 1 line comment. Okay, so this is the 2 ways you can make comments. So let's start. Now we have, this is by default, you have hello world. That's most programmers, they start with this statement. It's very popular. So if I run the program just by clicking on this, like it looks like a play button. So when I run the program, and then I'm gonna wait, there's a black window, like it's gonna pop up and it's going to show me what's the output. So it's going to show me hello world. Okay. Are you able to see this little window?
It lagged for a bit.
No. Yeah, it popped up like for a second.
Yeah.
Now you can see the black window that it just popped up. No?
Now, could you run it
Yeah,
again?
do it again.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I think probably you cannot see it because I have to stop sharing and then show it to you.
Okay.
Okay. Because or what I can do, let me see, because sometimes you can just share whatever is on the screen, it will show. So I'm gonna share whatever is on the screen like this. I think that's better. So now when I run the program, as you can see right here, when I run the program, let me see if you're gonna see like can you see like a black screen? It just came up.
Yeah.
We can see it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can see
Can you
it.
see that hello world on top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happened. That means all what the computer did is just print or display this statement, see out. By the way, you have to start with std and then 2:, like 2 times. But there is a way to stop using this. I'm going to use it only 1 time. If you do like this here on top and you put using namespace std, if you do it like this, you don't have to repeat this. You can just put cout by itself. That's going to save you a lot of coding. So I'm going to delete this now, and then cout should be enough. But you have to put it on top using namespace std. That means keep using std every time you're going to print something. So now I'm going to run the program. It's going to show. Now let me type something. So let's type something. Let's say, okay, I did run the program. Okay, so I'm going to put something. Okay, this is my first program. This is my first program ever, for example. And then you put semicolon. You have to put semicolon here. And then I'm going to add another one. And then always put it between double quote. Double quotes, that means it's a statement. It's a bunch of characters. So the computer will copy it exactly the way it is. Okay? It's called string. Anything between double quotes is a text. Usually like something that is a text that you type. So here I'm going to say, I am so excited, for example. And then always end with semicolon. If you don't add with semicolon, then the computer will assume that you are not ending the statement, that you are still, typing or something. So I'm going to run the program again and see. See now what I have? This is my first program ever. I'm so excited. But the problem is, I don't want to have I'm so excited in the same line. How can I move it to the second line? Because the computer just keep printing in the same line, no stop. So there is 2 ways to do that. Either you're going to go to the end and then add another, this little brackets, and then you put and L. That means end line. That's one way. So this is like the enter key for the computer. So it's going to hit the enter key. That means I am so excited, which will be in the next line. So that's the first thing you need to remember. When do you print horizontally? When you print vertically? Can you see now it's in the second line? I'm so excited. Why? Because of that and L. That's not number 1. That's L and L. There is another way, which is it's another option, which is before the and with the double quotation, use \n. This has the same impact, which is hit the enter key and start new line. So I'm gonna run the program. I'm gonna get the same thing. Say I got the same thing. It's in the next line. So whether I put and L, but if you don't put anything, the computer is gonna keep typing, right? Or the same line. It's gonna keep typing every time you come up with a statement. It's going to keep typing, continuing in the same line. Sometimes you do want to do that. Sometimes you want. It depends on what you want to do. So if you want to continue typing, don't do anything. If you want to type and then hit the enter key, start new line, then you have to use either and L or \n. Okay? So that's the first thing you need to remember. Now, what about if I want to, and then before we do that, you can do all kind of, calculations you want to make. For example, you can add numbers. Let's say 5 plus 6. Okay, and then see what the computer will say. 5 plus 6, of course, is 11. So you're going to see 11 here. So all the calculation that you are familiar with, it should be executed with no problem. So 5 plus 6, as you can see, 11. I did not hit the enter key by using and L, so that's why I got 11 at the end of the line. So I'm going to put here \n or and L. Okay, and then also I can multiply. Let's say that plus, I can use multiply. Multiply, we use the asterisk. Okay, so 5 times 6, of course, it's 30. So you're going to see 30 in there. Okay, so please make sure that you have like a notebook or something that you can take notes, because you will understand on the spot. You're not going to have problem. But the problem is, are you able to remember all of this? So I would highly recommend that you have something to write with, and just give example or something that should remind you of this concept, because there are certain things that, okay, here there's no problem because everybody knows the multiplication, addition, subtraction. So if I put subtraction here, 15 minus 6, you're going to get subtraction. But for the division, you're going to see something probably you are not familiar with. So 15 minus 6 is, it should be 9, right? So we should have 9. So far there is nothing, you know, that you are not familiar with. Okay, now what happened if I use this? If I want to divide 15 by 6, what do you think I'm going to get? Or let's say a simple thing like this, just 9 divided by 2, something that you can easily calculate. What is 9 divided by 2?
4.5.
4.5, right? So you should expect 4.5 because that's what math does, right? You should. Now let's see what happened. If I run the program, look what's going to happen. I want you to pay attention to this, and it may take you a while to remember it. See, I got only 4. What happened to the 0.5? It's because of the way the computer stores the information. When you divide an integer by another integer, the computer will save only the integer part of it. That's kind of weird because that's, you know, in math, we don't do this, right? So if I divide 9 by 2, it will be 4. Now, somebody may say, well, how am I going to keep that 4.5? Let's say I want to keep that 4.5 so I can use it for other calculation. You have different ways to do that. You have to change one of the numbers, either the numerator or denominator, to 0.0. So when you divide 9.0 by 2, now you can keep the decimal. So when you run the program now, the decimal will be kept. So you can see 4.5. Let's wait. As you can see right here, 4.5. Or another option is change 2 instead to 2. One of them at least should be a decimal number. So 2.0, that should be 4.5. Or both of them, you know, but at least one of them should change to what we call double. Double is another way to say decimal. We don't say decimal in C++ and Java. We say double. Or you can have both of them. We'll talk about this in detail, like in the variable, when we talk about variables, but just try to remember this. When we have integer over integer, and it happened to me once. One time I gave my students a problem about area of triangle. So I gave them the base, I gave them the height, and I told them, okay, go ahead and calculate the area of the triangle. So they did this, like they know the formula, they memorized it by heart. They said this: 1/2 multiply by base times height, assuming that this variable have numbers. Okay, it's underlined because I did not declare them. So everything is fine, and then they keep having 0, 0 all the time. And they keep asking, oh, Mr. E, so how come I get a 0 regardless what base and height? I change the values and still keep 0. It's because 1/2 will give you 0. It is 1 integer over integer. You always get only the integer part of it. So you will always get 0 no matter what base is, no matter what the height is. So how do you solve this problem? Is by changing one of them, 1.0, because for the computer, 1 is different than 1.0. Why? Because we're talking about 2 different data types. 1 is an integer. 1.0 is a different data type. It's called double. That's decimal. For the computer, it's not the same. Now for math, if the math teacher give you a question and then the answer is 3.0 and then you put only 3, it's not a big deal. Okay, it's the same answer. But for us, no, it's not the same answer. See? So because there's a difference between them. And then, or you can put 1 divided by 2.0, or you can put this. In front of the number, you can put the data. That means change it to decimal, like this. We'll talk about this in detail when we talk about variable. So that means change basically 1 to 1.0. The bottom line is when you have an integer over integer, the computer will display only the integer part of it. I know it's going to take a while. You're going to make mistake no matter what. You're going to try, but it's going to take you a while until you make sense of this, because you've been learning so many years in the math class that, okay, 3 over 2 is 1.5. And all of a sudden, somebody called Mr. E, he came up with this new stuff. Of course, it's going to take you a while to get used to it. All right? So this is just one of the things that you have to be careful about. Okay? So there's also something else, which is something we use all the time. Like in math, we don't use it. It's the percentage sign. So what does percentage sign means? Okay, let me use, for example, 6 by 4. Okay, let's move. So what is 6? This is called modulus. M-O-D. Let me write it down. Modulus. Sometimes, or mod. That's abbreviation. It's another way to say or remainder. We don't say remainder, we say this because that's the technical term. So basically, when you divide 6 by 4, what is the remainder? What's the leftover? When I divide 6 by 4, I get only 1, right? 4 times 1 is 4, and the remainder is 2. So the answer will be 2 because that's the leftover. Okay? We're going to be using this a lot. So make sure you make sense of this. Okay? Let me change the number and see. See, you got 2. Now let's say, for example, I got 16 mod, let's say 5. What's the answer? What's the remainder? What's the modulus?
1.
1, because when you divide, because you have to perform division, but we are not interested in the division. We are just using division as a first step before we can find the remainder. So 16 divided by 5 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. But what's the remainder? So 15 is 1 away from 16. So that's the leftover. So that's 1. So if I run the program, you're going to see 1. Okay? So that's the first thing you need to learn, that you can make any calculation. You just have to be aware of this small things that may come up. Okay. All right. So so this is about the output of you. Now, what about if you want to get information from the user? Okay. But before we talk about this, let's talk about variable. What is a variable? Variable is anything that holds a value, save it, okay, and has a data type. For example, I can declare a variable here that is, for example, let's talk about the area, the thing. So I'm going to put here base. Let me make it the base. I'm going to put int. Int means integer, called base, the base of the triangle, okay? And then I'm going to give it a value. Let's say 10. So now I just declared a variable, and that the data type of this variable int. What does int means? It accepts integer. If I put here 0.5, that's going to cause an error. Why? Because you cannot save a decimal value into an integer variable. Look at integer as a small box, and double, when I say double, I mean decimal. It's just I'm using the technical term. The double is a bigger box, okay? You cannot fit a big box in a small box, but you can do it the other way. If you have a number, let's say here, double, that means decimal, let's say height, okay? If I put a number that is integer, that's fine. You can either put 6 or 6.0, that's fine. Why? Because every integer is a decimal, but not the other way around. A decimal is not necessarily an integer, okay? So I'm going to keep both of them integer. So let's say height is 6, and then the base is. So what I did, I just declared two variables. with the same data type. Now, since they have the same data type, I can combine them into one. I can do something like this. I can put comma and then put height equals 6. That's totally fine for the computer. Why? Because they share the same data type int, so there is no point in repeating it as long as you separate them with comma, okay? And put semicolon at the end. That means I'm declaring both of them as integer. I'm declaring them as integer, but since both of them are they share the same data type, so I can combine them into. But I cannot combine if they have different types. What are the different types? We have integer. So integer, it has 4 types, but this is the most common one, integer. We have, for example, bytes. Byte is the smallest data type you can think. It's just a question of capacity. Byte is just like integer. It accepts only integer, but its capacity, it accepts only, I think it's 4 bytes. It accepts only 4 bytes. I'm sorry, byte, it accepts only 1 byte. And then I can have a number, for example, num equals 6. But the maximum that bytes can use is 127. Now for today, I'm just going to mention the ints. Next time we'll talk about the other one. So int is accepts only the integer part of it. Now I'm going to use double. Double, it uses a decimal number. Like, for example, I may put area, and then I want to calculate. Okay, I just said if I put 1 over 2, it's going to give me 0. So I have to choose. Either I'm going to put 0.5, or I'm going to put 1.0 divided by 2. That's going to give me 0. But if I keep it as 1 over 2, I'm going to get 0. So let's make it 0.5 times height, or by base times height. So this is the area. Now I can use this one right here. I can say, for example, here, the area of the triangle is, and I'm going to put plus. What is plus? Plus is just to separate the text from the variable. So plus has 2 meanings. If I use it with numbers, it's going to add them up. 5 plus 6 is 11. But sometimes I use it to separate 2 different things. The text between double quotes and the variable, which is area. Okay, so I put area in here. Double area. Let me see here. It said local variable. Okay. Okay. So let me use this one right here. I'm going to use them. Okay, I cannot put them. Let's see. Oh, I think I need to put that. Put this too. Okay. I have to put these two brackets in here. We use plus only if they have 2 the same type. So I'm going to put here area. Okay. Oh. Yeah, I deleted the information, so let me put it again. So we have int is base. So we put it 10. And then height is 6. And then area, double area, equals 0.5 times base times height. Okay, so now it should work. So let me run the program here and see what I'm gonna get. So I got 30. Is that what the correct answer is? Okay, 10 times 6 is 60 divided by 2. That's 30. That's correct. Okay, so we got the correct answer. Now, what about if I don't have the value? I want the user to type whatever they want. How can I do that? So here in this case, we're going to get input from the user. So let's say, for example, here, I don't want to give this value. I don't want to give the value. Okay, I'm gonna declare them, but I'm not gonna give them values. I'm gonna let the user give the value. In this case, I'm gonna just declare area. I'm not gonna make that calculation now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put, okay, I'm gonna let the user do that. So, okay, so I'm gonna put here. So I'm gonna ask the first question. Enter the base. So I'm gonna ask the user, enter the base. Let me run the program. You're gonna see only these statements. Enter the base. Okay. Okay, enter the base. Let's see. Okay, there's an error. Yes, let me see what's error here. And area. So there is an error here. Let's find out here. So we declared this variable. Okay. Oh, we forgot because there is an opening here. By accident, I deleted it. So we need to have a closing. This is how you open the program. You have to close it here. So now let's run it again. Okay, now we got enter the base. Now I'm gonna type the answer, but I need to save it. Okay, so we're gonna use something called CN. We use cout to get the information out. So now we are going to use cout. So let me just move this one right here out of the way. Okay. All right. So here I'm gonna use CN. CN, that means get the information in. That means the user will type something and I'm gonna save it in base. That means whatever the user type, let's say 15, it will be saved in this variable because so far base is empty. There is nothing in there. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for the height. Cout. And I'm gonna ask the second question. Enter the height. Okay. And then again, I'm going to put CN and then change the bracket. Look, so when you put cout, it's pointing to the left. When you put CN, it's pointing to the right. And then I'm going to put the variable height. Okay. So now I got the information. Now I'm going to do the calculation, which is area. So I'm going to put cout. Cout. Let me put the calculation first. Area should be equal to what? So 0.5 multiply by base multiply by height. I have to do the calculation first. I already have the base. The user will type something, it will be saved in there. The height, the same thing. This one will do the calculation, and then it's time to display the information. So I'm going to put here cout. The area is of the triangle is, and then I'm going to use this again and put the variable area. So this is a complete program, okay? So we don't need this anymore, okay? So the program starts like this. You can start with something like, statements, or this is a comment. This program, this shows how to calculate the area of the triangle. Okay, so area of the triangle, and then you are going to run the program here. So let's see. The first thing, the computer will ask the question, enter the base. The only thing before I run the program, I need to make sure that it starts a new line. So I'm going to put that \n every time. Otherwise, I'm going to continue in the same line. So I'm going to do the same thing every time, \n. That means it types the statement and then it starts a new line right away. So \n, and this one is fine. Okay, so let's run the program and see. The first question, enter the base. Okay, so let me type 16. And then once I hit the enter key, then it's time to ask the second question. Enter the height. So let's say 10. So now once you hit the enter key, the calculation will be made and then it will be displayed. So now the area of the triangle is 80. 60 times 10 is 160, divided by 2 is 680. So that's correct. So this is basically how to print, how to declare a variable, how to get input from the user. Okay. And then how to do the calculation, how to display the answer. So most of the programs follow this structure. Okay, you declare whatever variables you need. Here we are using 3 variables. 2 of them are integer. Again, integer does not accept any decimal, and then double accept decimal, and without decimal, yeah, it accepts integer also. Okay, cout is for displaying the information. Cin is to get the information from the user. Okay, any questions so far? Is there any questions about what we covered so far? Anything that
No.
does not make sense?
Yes, cool.
Yeah, so you just need to basically practice this. Like for example, you if you get the book, then it has a lot of practice, a lot of assignments, like how to do this. Like for example, how to calculate the perimeter and the area of the rectangle. Okay. Now, okay, let's do this. Okay, I want you to. Okay, I want you, and then you're gonna. I want you to share with me. Okay, whatever you have. So do the same thing for the rectangle. Okay, I want you to declare variables, which is the length and the width, and I want you to calculate, get the information from the user, and I want you to calculate the perimeter and area and display the result. Can you do this for me? So I'll give you like 5 minutes to do that. Let's see if you can. Let's practice. So I'm gonna leave this one open so you can use it as a reference, because it's all about practicing. Okay, you can keep looking and then try to make sense. It will make sense to you, but if you don't practice, unless you practice, so you are not improving. So go ahead and do the same thing, but for rectangle. Declare 2 variables. One is the length and the width. Both of them are integer. And declare 2 variable, because you need a variable for perimeter and area. So it's up to you. You want to make it double, it's up to you. Okay. And then get the information from the user and then find the results. So I want you to share with me what you have. Even if you have mistake, that's totally fine with me. Okay. Just try your best. So you have 5 minutes. So by 7:05, I want you to share whatever you have. That's okay. Don't worry about mistake. The more mistakes you make, the more opportunities to learn. Just remember that.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes, good.
So I currently have a MacBook. So you suggest me to get a Windows? Will that be better?
Okay, okay. If you have a problem installing Visual Studio, let me stop right here and show you. I'm glad you asked this question. Okay, you can go to. Okay, let me go right here and then share my screen. Okay, right
Is
here.
that part of Office?
No, you can use a website where you can do all of this. Okay, for example, right here, you're gonna go to this website, www.replit.com. Now I'm already logged in. That's why it shows my name in here. Let me log off and then show you how it looks before. So this is just, okay, I'm sorry, here. Okay, let me log off or log out. Now, this is what you're going to see when you go to Replit the first time. You're going to see this. So I want you to go to login and then click on continue with Google. So if you have a Gmail account, you should be able to log in with no problem. Why do you have to log in why it's preferable that you continue with Google or you log in with the Google account? Because so you can save all your files. So I'm going to click continue with Google. Automatically, I think if the first time, okay, like we're gonna click and then type your see, I already have the password. So now we're gonna take you to this, and then you're gonna click create, and then you choose which of the programming language you're gonna be using. Of course, you're gonna point to C++ like this, and then you're gonna type the title here. Let's say my first program, whatever you wanna call it. Give it a title. Okay, first program, and then you click create, and that's going to give you this platform. As you can see, it's very simple. This is the coding area in the middle. The left side is to keep track of your files, and then the right side is when you have the output.
Okay.
And then you can do the same thing like just what we did, using namespace std, and then you can type exactly what we did in here. Okay, so system out print line, you can declare your variables, as you can see right here, base, height, and then you continue the same thing that we are doing. And then when you run the program, you click on this. So if you find this one much easier for you, then you just have to just stick. I don't really mind which one you use, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you want to work with Visual Studio, go ahead and do that. If you have problems installing the program for whatever reason, you can use this. All what you need is just internet. That's all what you need. You don't have to
Okay,
install
yeah.
anything.
Perfect. I'll try to install Visual Studio. If it doesn't work, I'll just use that one. Thank you so much.
Sounds good to me. Yes, go ahead. Let me know if you have any problem. Okay.
Perfect.
Yes. Anybody want to share? I'm gonna stop here. So go ahead and share.
I'm trying to open up a window or like open up a new project, but it's just blank and it doesn't have any spot for me to type in.
Can you share your screen so I can see what's going on?
Okay.
It is Visual Studio, right?
Yeah. Give me a
Because
sec.
actually I installed it like 2 or 3 times. To be honest, I didn't have any problem. The process was very smooth. I went through the process, but you know.
Do you see it right now?
Okay, yes. So click
Like
on file. Click on file,
yeah.
and then does it okay? Click new. Does it say project or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can click project.
So then
Something probably it's coming up. You clicked on project, right?
yeah, it's a page that popped up. You can't see it?
No, I cannot see it.
Oh, okay. I don't know why it doesn't show it, but it's
What
like
does it say? Do you have like
it,
options or
so
something?
yeah, it's giving me options of what to pick. There's one that says empty project, console apps,
Okay,
CMake
click on
project.
console app. Click on console app.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
at
there
the
we
bottom.
go. It's
Okay,
working
so
now.
that's what you see. That's
Okay,
exactly what
yeah.
you see.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Anybody want to share? We just want to learn together. So it's
I'll share mine.
yeah. Go ahead. We are not judging anybody. We're just learning together.
Give me 1 second.
Let me start. Yeah, good.
You see it?
Yes, I can see. Yes.
Okay. Well, I just started, so I didn't really get to finish
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, you can do this together.
Okay.
So what's the first thing? You need to declare your variables. So declare for the rectangle, we need the length and width. So you can delete that line that says hello world. You can delete that. You can start from there.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
delete this line.
Yeah, delete that line. Yes. And then declare the variable int, int, So when you put int, that means this variable is of data type int. You cannot add decimal. It does not accept decimal. Space, and then length, length, and then put comma, width.
No,
So since both of them are integer, there's no point in repeating the same thing. Okay, and then semicolon, always at the end, semicolon in there.
all right. Oh, my bad.
Okay. Then hit the enter key, then declare two more variables. Let's call them double. Double means decimal. That's for perimeter and area. So do the same thing. Perimeter, comma, area.
On my area like that.
Yeah. Did you put space or comma in there? Don't put comma after
Oh, my
that.
bad.
Just space, yeah. So put area, comma, perimeter, and then put semicolon at the end. Yeah, put comma because we didn't finish the statement.
Where do I put the comma?
Yeah, after area.
Area. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, put comma and then put perimeter. Then semicolon is the last one.
Perimeter.
Yeah, perimeter. Yes.
Like that.
It's P. P-E.
Oh, my bad.
P-E-R-I-M-E-T-E-R. Or you can just call it per. It's up to you. You can call it anything you want. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you a favor. Okay, before the program, right after include, we're gonna add a statement so we don't have to repeat std. Can you go to that place after include, the line after include?
This one, right?
Yeah, hit the enter key, and then type using namespace. Start with using.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, leave that. Yeah, using namespace std.
STD.
std is semicolon. So we don't have to repeat std colon.
Okay.
So now go ahead. Okay. And now there's a little problem. You have two main. You should have only one.
Okay. So which one should I delete?
Yeah, delete the one at the bottom.
Bottom. All right.
Just make sure the variables are inside.
Okay.
Yeah, delete the brackets at the end. Delete them.
This one.
Yeah, both of them.
Okay.
Delete these three lines. All these three lines, delete them.
Like this. Like delete these.
Yes. Yeah, and make sure these variables are inside the brackets.
Like,
So
okay,
select
gotcha.
them and put them inside.
Like this one. But make sure it's outside.
Yes. Yeah, select them.
Okay. And put it like outside, like right here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have to close in? Okay, that's good. Okay, now after perimeter, hit the enter key, and then put cout.
See out.
Cout, that means you want to display something. Cout.
Okay.
Yes. And put two brackets. No, the less than. You know that less than?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, two of them. And then type between double quotes, enter the length.
Oh, sorry. Say it again.
Okay, put double quotes right after that.
Oh.
Yeah, double quotation, double quote.
Oh. Give me a
Yeah,
second.
delete that, and then put double quote. When you put statements, you have to put it between double quote.
Oh, how
No,
do
the double quote symbol, double quote.
What would
Okay,
be the symbol?
Okay, let me show you mine. So I can't remind you. Give me 1 second.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
No, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, this is mine, right? Can you see this double quote? Any text, it has to be between double quote. This is the beginning, and this is the end. So you put
Okay,
statement. Now, and then you put /n, so you can start new line.
So that'd be like the double code,
Yeah, double quote, and then you type whatever statement you want to type.
like double, like the slash n.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this one right here. Just
Okay,
type
got you.
like this. Okay, so go ahead and share. Let me stop. Let's go.
1 second. Okay. So I can just write anything in the statement.
Yeah, put double quote, enter the length.
Base.
We have the length and the width. Okay. Enter the length.
That's 1 second.
Now put the length because we are talking about length and width of the
Oh,
rectangle.
you want to do length? Okay, yeah, my bad.
Yeah. So put the length. Okay. Then put semicolon at the end.
What is it?
Now after the double quote. Yes.
And that /n, right?
Yeah. That's before the end of the
Oh,
quotation.
okay.
Put it right there. Yes, right there. \n.
Like after or before?
Now, before the end. Before the
Okay, I
end
got
of.
you. I got you. It's like the inside of it. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, instant. So \n.
So shit. And it's
And then put
on the outside,
semicolon.
right?
Yeah, put semicolon.
like-
Should be the, semicolon should be the last one.
Okay, I got you. I just made a mistake.
Yeah, put it after the double quote. No, after. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's good. Put
Okay,
some
gotcha.
semicolon. Now hit the enter key. Now put CEN. That means you're gonna get the information from the user.
Like
And
this?
then put the opposite of the brackets, like facing the other direction, 2 of them. Yes, that's good. And put length. That means whatever the user will type, it will be saved in this variable length. Semicolon in there. Very good. Now you're gonna repeat this 2 statements, but with width. So
Width,
you can
okay.
copy. Yeah, copy the last 2 lines and then
Like copy and
replace
paste?
length. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
You can copy them, copy 2 lines,
Oh, shit.
copy them, and then and then paste them right after, and then replace length with width.
Got you.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time instead of typing the whole thing. Okay, good. We're almost there. Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna make the calculation now. So hit the enter key and then you're gonna type perimeter equals what? So type perimeter, make sure you spell it exactly the way you have it before.
Oh. That's better. Hold on.
So it should be equal to 2 times length plus 2 times width. Equal sign, 2 multiply.
2 multiply, right?
Yeah. Multiply means the asterisk. Asterisk,
gotcha,
that's for
gotcha.
multiplication. Length, 2 times length,
Oh.
plus 2 times width.
2 times width.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes, perfect. And then do the same thing for area. So semicolon at the end always. And then move on to the next one. You're going to put area equals length multiplied by width.
Multiply by width.
Yeah, length multiply, length asterisk width.
Oh. Can you say it again?
Multiply,
Okay.
okay, width.
Width.
Okay, so you're almost there. You have one more line to go.
Okay.
The semicolon always at the end. Semicolon, don't forget that.
Got you.
And
Got
you're
you.
gonna put C out now because you're gonna display and put the brackets. Make sure like when you put C out, the brackets are pointing to the left. C in pointing to the right. Now you're gonna put a quotation again, and then you're gonna put the perimeter is. It has always to be between double quote. Always the text.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad.
Yeah, always it. Otherwise, it's going to be underlined because the computer might think that this is a variable. Okay, perfect. Very good. So it's going to put the perimeter is, and then you're going to use again 2 brackets after the quotation. After, you're going to put double, yeah, after that, yeah, after the closing quotation, after.
After.
Yeah, moved after, at the end. And then you're gonna put the two brackets again.
Brackets again.
Yeah, the brackets less than. Yeah,
Give me a second.
yes.
Would it be like this?
No, the double, you know, the one that you put after C out, you're gonna repeat them again.
Okay.
The brackets after C out, yeah, just do this.
Let me see the picture as.
Yeah, can you see like C out? There is the two brackets, right? After C out.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There's two brackets, yeah. You just have to repeat them. So you can separate the text from, so you're gonna put two brackets in there, the two less than symbol.
For CN or count.
No,
Or C out.
do you know like what C out is? There is two brackets after. The brackets that you have after C out. that's the little
Oh, okay,
symbol.
okay.
Yeah, just put two of them.
Oh shit! What am I doing?
Yeah, look, listen. Let me show you. That's fine. That's fine. No problem. So let me show you mine. I'm gonna share. Can you see like right here? We repeat this. We put it
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I was thinking of something else. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was on the wrong line. I was looking at something else.
That's okay because this is the first program. That's totally understandable.
Okay.
Go ahead and share.
Oh.
So put the brackets and then put perimeter and close. Perimeter, and don't forget to put perimeter. Make sure you spell it exactly the way you have it. Okay.
Like that.
Yeah. You may want to add and okay, that's fine. And yeah, that's fine.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then hit the enter key and then do the same thing for the area.
CIN.
Yeah, C out,
CIN.
brackets, the area is.
Oh, shoot, my bad.
Bracket, two bracket. And then between double quotes, we're going to put the area is. Okay, and then close the quotation, maybe like a little space after is, and then after the double quote, you're gonna put two brackets and put area, just like what you did with the first
Okay, got you.
area, and then put semicolon, and then you are done.
That's it.
So now you're gonna run the program and see. Yes. So click on that play button and see.
This one.
Yes.
Oh, can you see it? Oh, hold on. Can you see it?
What did you see? So there's no error, right?
Enter the link.
Oh, so tap something for the length and hit the enter key. I mean, I cannot see the page, but that's okay.
Yeah, it says enter. It says enter the width and.
Okay, and then type something and then hit the enter key.
Oh, hold on. Let me do it again. Yeah, I accidentally closed it.
That's okay.
Okay, enter the link. I'll just say 5. Enter the width. The parameter is the 22. The parameter is 22. The area is 30. That's what I got.
Okay, but that's good. It did
Okay.
work. Very
Okay.
good. Congratulations. You did
I
good.
appreciate it.
And that's the first program. Yeah, this program, it takes time because you are
Yeah.
learning a new language. When you learn a new language, it takes time for you to adjust. So that's good. Thank you so much
Okay,
for
yeah, I
sharing.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, any questions about this?
Okay.
Well, Aaron, do you have any question? Israel, you have any question? Eric?
Okay. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. So is it possible with the parameter part, can you use parentheses with the equation and it'll still work?
What do you mean the parentheses? Okay, can you share your screen if you have something in there?
Okay, yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. You mean parentheses after perimeter?
Yeah.
No, because
Can
the
you
variable should not have parentheses.
this?
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can. But it's not
Okay.
gonna make a difference. You know why?
Why?
Because in computer science we follow PEMDAS. You know PEMDAS,
Oh
like
yeah.
the order of operation.
Mm-hmm.
So the computer will start with the multiplication regardless. I mean, it's good
Okay.
to have it just to be safe, but the computer will perform the multiplication first, then the addition or subtraction.
Okay.
So it's good to have it. I like that, but it's not going to make a difference if you don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll talk about this later on when we talk about arithmetic operations and assignments. We will talk in detail about this. Very good,
Okay.
very good question.
Um.
Okay.
Also, when I run this though, it says that there's a error.
So it looks like there is an error in there. Oh, I can
Yeah.
see it. Because you put using namespace, put std. It's underlined. Can you see it's underlined?
Oh,
Yeah,
oops.
put std.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's the only problem you have. It should be fine now.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, good. All
Okay.
right. Any other questions?
No, that's about it.
All right. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your participation. Now, for the next Wednesday, I'm not going to be available. So I'm going to meet with you in the week after, okay? Always on Wednesday between 6 and 7.
Okay.
Or what we can do, if you want to meet like on Thursday, I can do that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds
Thursday,
good.
That's fine.
Like the same
Yeah,
time.
Thursday
right?
sounds good. Same. Yeah.
So is Thursday fine, or you want to wait
Yeah,
until the week?
Yeah,
Thursday.
that's good. That's good.
Thursday is good. Yeah.
So Thursday.
That's
Okay.
good.
So I'll
Are
make
we
an announcement and then let everybody know.
are we still pulling up at the same time?
Yeah, the
Like, are
same
we
time.
6 to 7? Okay.
Same time, but on Thursday instead of Wednesday. I'll make an announcement. I'm gonna send an email to everybody.
Okay, okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your participation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, have a good one.
You
Okay.
too.
Bye bye.
Yeah, have a
Have a
good
nice
one.
week.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.